Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today on Light of Hidayah, we're talking about Brexit. Today with me, I have a special guest. My guest is called Afzal Khan. He's the MEP for United Kingdom. I'd like to welcome you today. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, salam. Thank you very much. It's good to be here on the show.
And I'm very happy that you're here today with us on this show, and especially to talk about Brexit, because it's something that's sort of affecting everybody in our households. We're all wondering what's going on. Yes. So you're the best person to ask.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm certainly not the expert, but I do know what's going on because I deal with it day in, day out. It's a big subject. The truth is, even the government doesn't know what's going on.
The government doesn't know. I think everyone's in the dark, and we're quite blind about it. And we're worried about it. And we were so excited when you all got elected and you went off to Brussels. We were all very, happy about, what's going to happen. And then suddenly Brexit has come, and I think a lot of people were shocked as well at that outcome.
Yeah, I think the first point is it's a referendum, which government chose to have, and then people have actually spoken. The difficulty actually is that people have voted that they want to leave European Union.
Yes.
People like myself, we campaigned that actually it doesn't make sense. Europe is not perfect. It's just like us.
Yes.
We're not perfect. Our areas are not perfect. Our government isn't perfect. In the world, there's nothing perfect. What we have to do is really look at the package and then decide, as a package, whether it's a good or bad. And I think I know there are different reasons why people voted. For example, our own Pakistani community, 70% voted to stay, but 30% still voted to come out.
I know, and I met a few as well, and I was quite shocked.
Why would you want to vote?
Yes, you think that they would want to stay in.
Yeah.
But do you think it could be because the community couldn't actually see what they were gaining out of you being in, not actually seeing what you're doing? Because I know the European, government, and they've done quite a lot of things. They've funded a lot of things. I'm from Blackpool, and I know in Blackpool a few things have been funded.
Yeah. Many of the central things which have been transformed in Blackpool are actually linked with the money received. Yeah.
Yes, but it's not publicised that way. Do you think that could have affected the votes?
Yeah, I think there are a number of reasons. It's not a single reason why people voted.
Okay.
I think probably the fairest way to look at it is what's the biggest reason? And I think the biggest reason has been immigration.
Okay.
There have been many people who thought, look, this immigration is out of control, and if we stay in the European Union, we're not going to be able to control it. And that's why you probably heard saying, we want our borders back.
Yes.
We want our country back. The truth is, it's not that we didn't have borders. We had borders. Yeah? Have you ever seen anyone coming into the country without passport? All the borders there are, actually, they check for passports.
Yes, definitely.
And then it's about getting our country back. Well, we have our country. What do you mean getting it back? Yeah? But their thinking was that the control was somehow maybe in Europe. Again, it wasn't true. And then some of our own people, they thought that maybe these Eastern European people are coming and they're taking our jobs.
Okay.
Again, they forgot that people used to accuse you of the same things.
Yes, definitely.
They are coming and they're taking our jobs. Yes. Are you now doing the same thing which you used to hate? We used to condemn. We used to say that's racism.
Yes, but then it's happening now.
And now when we do it, is that not racism then? We should think of those things as well. And then I think the final point for our own community's point was there was this lie sort of spun out, and the lie basically was people from Commonwealth countries, we want them in here, not the Europeans.
Okay, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And why is it that they can just come in and the Commonwealth can't? Well, what they forgot was, first of all, European Union they are our neighbors.
Definitely.
Even in Islam, neighbors have a lot of rights.
Yes, definitely.
So while they could come in, but we could also go into their countries.
And they do.
And they do. The numbers is about same. But they never thought about it that way, that actually many British people are also living in the European countries.
Because
so it's a two-way benefit.
Definitely. I mean, I know a lot of people that have left England to either retire or to even work over there.
Yeah, and many young people as well who go and study there. They do the languages as well and other courses.
Or they can't get into universities here, so they go into...
That's right, and it's cheaper.
Yes.
So there's so many different ways. And then I think that probably one of the other point was there are many benefits which were actually coming, and you actually gave some example from your own town, Blackpool.
Yes.
But what they didn't understand was that these benefits are actually coming from there.
Yes.
What they didn't understand is, for a city like Manchester, when IRA bombed the city, took the heart out of the city, very first money that came in actually came from the European Union. So there's so many research, for example, in the universities.
But you have to that's the thing. I think is the main thing is that you have to research it, and if you're not really that into it and you don't want to research it, then how are you going to know? I think I don't think it's been publicised that look, actually, from being part of the European Union, we've actually gained these things. I feel that people are sort of just like you just said, the immigration is that all the people are coming from Eastern European countries, they're taking our jobs, so for that reason then we won't have the jobs, but maybe the people that are in England don't want them jobs in the first place, and that's why they're taking them.
Yeah, this is again an interesting point you made. First point I would say is that actually the Northwest has always got more out of Europe than what we put in.
Yes.
And the second point is there are jobs here which British people don't want to do.
Yes, definitely.
That's the truth, yeah. And some of these Eastern Europeans come and they do it. And there are some jobs which we can't do, yeah? So we don't have the skills. And therefore we need those people as well. And the third thing I think what they don't forget also is that research after research, what it shows is that these people coming in actually provide net benefit to our country. They pay for the taxes, right?
Yes.
And if they were not working and paying those taxes, then me and you would have to pay more taxes.
Definitely.
And if we didn't pay more taxes, then there would be even more cuts.
Yes.
We've seen last 6 years of cuts, from this Tory government.
Yes, definitely.
But if they were not paying more taxes, that would mean we would have to face more taxes. And the final point on this one is, and something which they again ignore, and that is this, that generally in many of the Western countries, the population demographic is changing. And what is happening is there are more old people and there are less young people. And for any country or society to survive, there has to have a balance between the young working people and the retired people.
Definitely.
If one gets too big, it puts burden on the others.
Yes, definitely.
And this again is another reason why actually we need some immigration. So that immigration has to be, of course, controlled. And of course, we have to think about immigration which actually benefits the country.
You just said, they're bringing skills in, and a lot of them are coming in
and they
with
create
skills.
jobs, businesses.
Yes, they're coming in as either business, so they're opening businesses, or because obviously there's a lot of Eastern European communities here now, so you see a lot of shops, Eastern European shops opening, which is obviously they bring in the food, that food's being sold, so obviously it's business for England. And obviously the skills as well, you get a lot of them that are skilled builders or car mechanics. We need that kind of skills here, because you find a lot of the young people now are not going to college and not getting these skills.
Well, of course we need to change that as well to make sure that our young people have that opportunity.
Yes.
We need to make sure that our educations are better, and we need to make sure that the skills the young people have match the jobs which are outside.
Definitely.
You see, you can be educated but not have the skills for the job. So those skills are matched with the job. And we need to be providing more IT skills.
Definitely.
A lot of jobs are going in the future going to be coming on that
Everything's
side.
Everything's on IT anyway. So
so I think we are going through a difficult patch. And if we're not careful, we could lose out, and our next generation may have to pay a big price.
Definitely, and it's and we've got to think of the next how they're going to work and what's going to happen. But you've said about the EU and that some people from here go and study over there. If we when we leave EU, will we actually need visas then? How are we going to study, or even for a holiday? Is it going to affect us?
Yeah. Well, look, nobody knows.
Okay.
And the reason nobody knows is it all depends what sort of deal we make as a country with the rest of the EU. One thing is clear, what deal we have now. And the deal we have now is that you can put petrol in your car today and go through any 28 countries without needing anything. Yeah? Other than putting the petrol in.
Yes, and just having your British passport.
Yes. But if we pull out and we don't have any arrangements like this, then that would mean for any country you go, you're going to first have to apply for a visa.
Okay, so then it's going to...
And that would mean time, and that would mean money.
Yes.
Yeah? And that is the danger of this, which people forget.
So
all those even holidays that you can go to Spain now without thinking about it, pick up your baggage and take your passport, and you go to Spain and come back, no charges, nothing, yeah?
No.
But that would mean, no, you're going to have to apply for visas. And if the visa is 40, 50, 60 pounds, straight away you're down. Now that we don't even come out, but with the talking about coming out, we've seen the pound has gone about 20% down.
Yes,
and if those who are sending money to Pakistan, they will know the difference now.
Definitely.
They lost out about 20 rupees per pound.
Which is quite a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
They never thought about that.
No one, they thought about the jobs going, but they didn't think about actually the money that you're earning and you're sending back.
Those who are experts in this field, they're saying the day we trigger Article 50, that's the formal process of coming out.
Yes.
At the moment, we're business as usual. We're still part of the European Union. But when we press the button for Article 50, there may be another drop of 10% of the pound.
Okay. And how long do you think this is going to take? Do you think it's going to be... It's not overnight, is it? So it's going to take...
No, it's a big thing.
Yes.
In this process of Article 50, it talks about 2 years.
Okay.
But what we're going to understand is what that means just coming out. It doesn't necessarily mean we will have all the agreements.
Okay.
And if you think about the agreements and then all the experience we have, because from a country to another country agreement, these are big things. They're not just like buying a house.
No.
Buying a house can take 2-3 months, but these are big agreements, and these take years. All the past agreements which have been made by EU with other countries, they take anything between 6 and 7 years.
Okay,
so what we could end up with is, if you're not careful, we come out after 2 years, because as soon as you press the button, that the clock starts ticking. We only have 2 years, and we may not have a proper agreement done, what the relationship is going to be like, and that may take longer. And so there may be something in the agreement which allows us to bridge this gap. Yeah.
So is it 2 years from now? Or is it 2 years from when you actually
press the button?
Okay.
The way you got to look at it is you got to press the button.
Right.
And the day you press the button, the clock starts ticking.
So at the moment we're sort of just...
At the moment it's business as usual actually. We've had a referendum, but the referendum says we should come out, yeah?
Okay.
But the clock is not ticking because we've not pressed the button.
See, because a lot of people out there don't really know and don't understand.
That's right.
That's the problem.
Right. So I still go to the European Parliament just as before. I still have all the same powers which were there before. And I'll carry on even after pressing the button.
Yes.
It's only when we come to the end, then it has to stop. Then I will be stopped being an MEP. We don't have people there fighting for us, standing up for us. Then they'll be doing their business, and we will have to then pick up the pieces where we are.
Just have to deal with ourselves, really, basically.
Yeah, I mean, somebody gave a very good example. He said it's almost like, what they're saying is, hey, we need to leave. And it's like saying, this is the door to go out.
Yes.
But nobody knows what's outside the door.
No.
Yeah? Is it a cliff? Is it a tunnel? Is it the world?
Yes.
What is it outside? How will it work? And this is why some people are concerned that we shouldn't go out of the door without knowing where we're going. Yeah.
But I do think that maybe because people didn't actually know the consequences and didn't actually know what the EU was actually giving us, that we were in this situation. I think, I think immigration has made.
I think so. I think immigration is the big one. A lot of people basically had lots of concerns, and including, some of these cuts which have been happening.
Yes.
From the government, 6 years. Also, the austerity measures which have been happening for about 8 years of the financial crisis that happened, all these have been rolled into one, and they just blamed it on immigration without understanding that immigration is a good immigration and a bad immigration. Not all immigration is bad, and a lot of immigration has done Britain great wonders, many of the contributions, many of the inventions, many of the scientists, the brains from the world have come through immigration and made Britain great.
Yes, and I think England is one of those countries that has so many varieties of communities, but we're all one, we're all British, and we're all here for our country. And I think that it's a shame that people can use the word immigration as like a scare tactic.
Yeah, it is, and that's how it's been happening, and the actual fault may have lied with the politicians, who have not been able to deliver, and who've done the cuts,
Definitely.
And if anything, if the austerity, it was to do with the banks, it's the banks failing, which we had to bail out as country, and that means me and you, our taxpayers' money.
Definitely.
But have they helped to bail us out? No, they've been too busy trying to make their bonuses, the millions. And again, as a country, you can't tackle that. But if you work together as a European Union, 28 countries can tackle these people. It's a good one. Another example is Murdoch. All the press that goes on. He's a very powerful person in the press. And somebody said to him, "Why don't you like the European Union?" And his reply was very interesting. He said, "Well, when I go to number 10 Downing Street, they open the door for me. But when I go to the European Union, they don't care about me." And that's the difference.
Yes.
You see, you would be at the mercy of people like Murdoch, who peddles rubbish as well. All these papers, if you look at it,
Well, it's just to sell newspapers.
Absolutely, and how they hammer the Muslims as well. Anti-Muslims, this Islamophobia, hysteria that they created.
Yes.
It's people like you outside wearing a job who's paying the price. Some of these racists, what heck. So it's a complex area, difficult things are happening, but we'll be paying the price if we're not careful.
Definitely, because I think people have forgotten that, obviously Britain on its own is one voice, but in the European, we're all together. And
it's interesting. Somebody also gives an analogy of this to understand, so people can understand. He said, it's like there are teams in the world who play together, and by us being part of the European Union, we were a team of 28 players.
Which is a strong power.
Which is a very strong team. Normally you'd have 10, 12 people in the team. If it's a football or a rugby or a cricket, that's how it is. But we had 28. But what Britain is doing is saying, no, we'll play as a team alone. And there's 27, and there are some other kind of places where they have 10 countries together, there's some 15 like that together. There are blocks in the world. So they will be powerful, we'll be left alone. And the one player we have, we're still divided because Scotland wants something else.
Definitely.
Northern Ireland wants something else, so even that one will not be together. And that's the danger, how are you going to score a goal?
What you just said about Scotland, because Scotland, they didn't want to leave. So
No, Northern Ireland didn't want to leave.
So what's going to happen then?
Well, it's a big constitutional crisis coming if we're not careful,
But that was after the buttons been pressed.
Yeah, because the government in Scotland is making clear that we will not have anything which is against our wishes.
Yes.
And their wishes is having a single market, or staying or having access to single market.
Yes.
So that they don't damage themselves economically.
What is the single market? Because some people
the single market, what it means is that like we are free to move around, same other goods can go around. So anything we can make here, we instead of having a market of the 64 billion in Britain, we can have a market of 500 million, all those countries. So the goods are free to move around.
Within the EU.
So therefore it helps us to do more in those countries.
Yes.
That's why half of our trade is linked to the EU. So whatever we do, it's just like thinking about it, if you have a shop and half your customers are coming from one area
Yes.
Well, you've got to look after them, aren't you? Because half your business is linked to them.
Yeah.
Same we have to do. We have to take care of that, that we have access to that.
But I think, there's people out there don't understand, you see, and I think that,
Well, I'm trying to put it in a simple way as possible. It's a complex area, but basically what it means is this: all those millions of jobs that we have and things we make, half of them actually go to EU. And we need that market.
Going out to that, then it's going to affect them.
If we're out, that means they can then put tariff. Okay. And what it means is we have to pay.
So like a tax?
Yeah, a sort of tax, you can say. Yeah. So if we have to then pay, then that means the goods we make will be that much more expensive. So those countries who don't have to pay that, they'll be able to make it cheaper than us.
Yes.
And if somebody makes things cheaper,
they'll buy from them and not from us.
Why is it we buy many things from China? The reason we buy many things from China is that China can make it 20 pence what costs us to make a pound.
Yes.
So therefore it's cheaper for us to buy something which is around 20.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why we enjoy it.
Yes.
So that's the same idea with the European Union. If they put tariffs on the things we do, that means everything we produce, if there's a tariff on it, it will be that much more expensive depending on the amount of tariff. And that means it puts us at disadvantage to compare to other countries in those areas where they don't have tariff.
Yes, definitely.
That's why
it's very important.
Important, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has any other country ever left European Union?
No country the size of Britain has ever left. It's a big one. It's a big one for them as well.
Yes.
It's a two-way thing.
And what do they think about it? Obviously, you're
I'm there, and you talk to them, and you understand. I think there are fundamentally three types of people there in the Parliament. There are those who don't care.
Because they think they've got everything they need. So
they don't care about Britain. They think, look, we're just making too much of a fuss about it. If Britain wants to leave. And there are those who feel, well, they're upset. They're just thinking, why are they doing this? We have given so many exceptions to Britain to be part of this club.
Yeah, so they feel sad.
Yeah, we've already treated them special. Despite of us making those special treatment for them, they still don't want to be part of us. So what's wrong with them? Do them brain checking, And then there are a third who are angry about it. They're saying, right, we'll teach you a lesson. We are 27, you are 1, And that's, some people get confused. They say, they will lose out from us. The point, as far as I'm concerned, is that even if it's true, but there are 27 of them to take that loss.
Yes.
So they'll share it out.
Yes.
Whereas who's going to share it with us, all the loss?
Just we're on our own.
So if you think about it like this, that there are £50 loss, and we make £35 loss. Now the £50 loss will be shared by the 27.
So it
will be even less than £2.
Yeah, so they shouldn't feel it.
But if 35, while it's less than 50, but all 35 will come from us.
Yes.
So we will feel it actually more, even when we're small, in the sense of the loss, because we're going to have to carry it alone. And that's the point which we keep forgetting.
It's even, we've got to carry it alone, but we've already got the division of Ireland and Scotland as well. So
well, that's right.
From being one alone, we're actually split 3 ways.
Less than one.
Yes. So it was even more.
So I think it's a really difficult area and difficult situation we are in, and this is why the government is not clear on it. It shows how difficult it is. This.
Do you think, like if Scotland and Ireland pushed, they could stop this from actually happening?
They can't do that, I don't think. Because on the other side is the clear referendum result.
Yes.
But what it may do is cause dangers to our own unity. So we end up in a position where not only we break up the EU by us leaving, we end up breaking our own country.
Okay.
And that's the biggest danger.
So they could separate from us?
Yeah, why not? If let's say a couple of years down the road, things go bad, the way things are going at the moment, it's getting difficult,
It's very difficult.
And then they have a referendum in Scotland, and Scotland may feel, well, we are better off being in Europe and then being with Britain.
Yeah.
And they may then say, right, we'll have a referendum to break away from Britain. We can't keep Scotland by force. We can only keep them with consent.
Yes.
And therefore, that's why it's important that any deal the British government reaches out with the European Union, they actually take into account the feelings of Scotland.
Yes.
Because the danger otherwise is you end up risking breaking your own country.
Definitely, and I mean Southern Ireland already is part of Europe anyway.
That's
so
right, and they're not going to go anywhere. They're not,
They're
the
not
question
gonna
already about the Northern Ireland argument is that maybe we should have a special treatment here, whereas they can carry on being part of Southern Ireland. They are main island. Because they don't want a border back, because they know what it was like.
Yes.
The whole fighting for so long.
We don't want to start
They
that.
don't want. Yeah, there are elements already recruiting. I do security and defense. I'm a vice president of security and defense. There's that risk as well. The dangers. We don't want this war starting again.
Yeah,
we have
many
to pay
years.
the price.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously we've had the British Army having to go over there.
Yeah, it's been a long time now. We've had peace, and we need to build on the peace.
But now this could cause.
Yeah, because building that peace, again, the European Union was giving money to have built that peace as well.
Definitely.
We don't understand that we've ignored that point.
I think because people haven't highlighted it, and I think a lot of people haven't seen.
Yeah, and people were not listening as well, I think.
I think we used to hear immigration, and I think people just, it's alarm bells.
It's the emotions.
Yeah, alarm bell style, and they don't realise that it's not just immigration, it's not a bad thing. It's 50-50, there's some good things, some bad things, There's a lot of, if you actually look at the history and heritage of UK, most families have got somebody that have migrated to the UK.
Yeah, I was reading the other day on the Facebook, somebody put this down. No, it was on Twitter actually. Yeah, they said, you talk about Britain, from Saxons, the Romans, and all these different countries, people who have been coming here. What Britain are you talking about?
Where are they from?
But So and Britain itself, it's been to about 139 countries.
Yes.
And look at us, the Indian subcontinent, all those countries, they ruled for nearly 200 years. Come on, there's a connection.
But when somebody speaks immigration, it just causes.
And they forget that as humans, forget all this country business, as humans, we've always had immigration idea. People have always moved. And
it's been migration, hasn't it?
This is part of the history of humans.
Yes.
It's the trees that actually don't move. You plant them, that's where they grow. Humans have always moved. And those who are experts in this field, they've looked at this point and they've said, okay, why? And always there are three reasons why people move anywhere in the world. The reasons why people move are only three.
Okay.
And for your viewers and you, the three reasons are, one is whenever there's instability in anywhere.
You want to move and.
If you think about it today, look at Syria. There's instability there, there's a war going on. Half the Syrians are refugees now.
Yes, and they're all migrated
in different countries, some within Syria, different places, others in Lebanon, in Jordan, in Iraq, in Turkey, some of the European countries. So you see this. The biggest sort of number which have been happening in the last few years, they're actually from Syria.
Yes.
And the reason is because of instability. So that's
Definitely.
always number one reason why people move.
But when you speak about Syrians, people think that they want to come here, become refugees. But even in Sudan, in Turkey, in all these countries,
it's always anywhere we look at it.
The responsibility.
We used to have millions of Afghans from Afghanistan to Pakistan. It was 4 million they were. And why? Because there was a war going on in Afghanistan.
So they wanted stability in
so
Pakistan.
Instability is the reason. The second reason is poverty.
Yes.
Whenever there's poverty, as humans, we want to have a better life. It's inbuilt in us, so we strive to have a better life. So again, you see some of the immigration which comes from the poor countries. They try to then go
to better themselves.
That's right. And the third reason usually is to do with the climate. The climate we have, that changes. So if any area the climate changes bad, so that they can't actually have their good living, they will then move to an area where there's a better climate. So in the whole history of humans, this is the only three reasons usually why they go. This is the three big reasons.
Definitely, and not forgetting Britain also move for the same reasons. I mean, they go either to retire and have a nice restful life.
It's about making life better.
Or the weather's better because England doesn't have
That's
the best.
climate.
Yes. You know, or
It's environment.
yes, or even they go for education and a job because although
it's all linked like that.
Although you think Britain has many jobs and it has many things happening, it has, but certain jobs you have to move out of the country to do.
Well, another simple way of putting it to your viewers is this. Look, why do you, this is one of the arguments I used to use during the referendum. Why do you want to leave a future for your children linked to 65 million when you can actually make it linked to 500 million?
Yes.
That means every opportunity, every way is more for them.
Yes, definitely.
They can go and live somewhere else. They can live here. They can go live in France. They can live in Spain. They can live in Brussels.
Gives them the choice.
Choice, yeah. And if they're doing a business, they can do business here, but they can also do business with all these people without any restriction, without needing to fill any forms, That makes a big difference.
Definitely, because obviously we know with immigration it's a big toll that you have to fill in all the forms and they ask you so many questions. It's very hard. And even if you fit all the criteria, you're still not guaranteed they're going to say you can do it.
No.
But with this, we had a guarantee that we can just go today.
There cannot be any discrimination within the European Union. There was.
Well, that's gone now. If
we go out, it will go.
Yeah. Well, they're going to say, well, they left us, so why do they want to come back and?
Yeah. It's difficult. It's really difficult. That's why I always think, wow, what a place we put ourselves in.
Bad situation.
Yeah.
But the British that are living in these European countries, what will happen to them? Because obviously they're still in their British nationality. Will they have to change to a European?
Yeah. Well, lots of things are happening already. There are, for example, many descendants of Irish background who are now applying for Irish passport.
There's too many.
There are many British who are living in other countries who have been living there for some time. They're now trying to get a nationality from those countries. So this is already happening.
Yes.
But the main question, I think the point is, there's about similar number of EU citizens living here and about similar number of British living in EU. So they would have to make some agreement to allow this.
That are already here or there.
If not, then there'll have to be a swap.
It's going to
So
be
millions will come this way and millions will go that way. But I think they'll come to some common sense idea that those who are already like this, to leave them, to give them chance. But we'll have to wait and see what agreement is.
It's quite scary, really, if you've got a family and children.
Well, it's scary if you're working in Europe and suddenly you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
or if you're European living here, you don't know what's going to happen.
And you've had children here or children there, and you could be living in France and your children could be speaking French and going to school there, and then suddenly having that where you might have to take them and move
out.
them. So it's quite.
We'll have to wait and see. Where it goes. But I think ultimately it makes sense because the number game, actually, this is the stupidity of this whole argument. They talk about immigration from Europe. The truth is it was a two-way and the numbers are about same. Sometimes, like now, slightly more are coming in. But that's only because of economic reasons.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have one country doing better than the others, so from other countries people move. But when we go down, other countries are doing better, then from here people go.
Yeah,
so in the long term, it evens out. It's not a big thing. And that's why if today we separated, the difference between the two numbers won't be much. So those who talk about immigration,
still going to be in the same situation.
It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, and it's not.
What we may end up with is getting lots of old people back from Spain.
Yes, maybe.
Which will probably no problem issue, because end of the day, old people need more things. They need more doctors, more services, more hospitals, ideas, more money for you to, give them as well in the whole services. Because if you look at the costing of a life, how we are, then you draw the graph from when you're born and you go through life, to school and you grow up and you work and then you go old and then you sort of go towards the end of your life and you die. And the graph always is, in the earliest part of your life, you're born, it costs a lot of money in hospital and everything and looking after the baby and all this. And then it starts going down till you become full grown up and you work. Then it more or less stabilizes it, and then you put in the money into the system basically. And then you start getting old and the graph starts going up. And the older you get, the graph gets bigger, higher and higher. So it means you have to pay more and more. And that's why, you have to have a balance in the society. If there are too many old, that means the cost on that side of the scale will be very high. And who's going to pay? The pay is the working one, which is in the middle, yeah? And if that shrinks,
then we're
there's a problem.
a big problem.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
Straight away.
There's already NHS and
crisis in NHS. All sorts of different ways. And then don't forget, there's about 7-8% of the staff at the moment. There are already shortages in NHS and jobs, but about 8% are from EU. So if you take another 8% out, well, what do you think is going to do our services?
It's going to bring it down.
Yeah.
So it's a no-win situation, really.
And that's why they also say, they complain about that these EU people are coming and they burden on our health service. The truth is,
they're actually helping.
They are actually more likely to be helping you than to receiving the service, because the second reason is the people who are coming from EU mainly are young people.
Yes.
Working age people.
Yeah.
And that's the age. No, that's the age when you don't need health.
No.
Your health is usually quite good. Some do, but on a large scale. There is that
age.
age.
To work, basically, and to earn and to pay tax.
If you think about it, those who are 25, 30, when do they go to see doctor? Very rarely. When you go and see the doctor, you'll see who goes. Usually the young ones or the old ones getting the surgery.
Definitely.
That explains you where the need is. Yeah.
But obviously, no one's really thought of that, and it's sort of been to the wayside. But it's really important, and now we're in the situation that it's quite bleak, really.
Well, it's sad. Some of our own political leaders, the Pakistanis, were complaining, saying we should come out, that there's going to be discrimination. That was their argument. There's more discrimination in Europe. And
I was quite shocked, really, our own community.
I think it's such a stupid argument, because the truth is, I used to say this, that look, there's also discrimination here. It's not that it's just from Europe. And look what's happened. Since we've come out, the discrimination is shot up. Shot up. A Muslim woman is going around with a hijab being pulled off, spat at, swore at, assaulted. All sorts of things are going on, mosques being threatened, attacked. We're seeing all that. It wasn't like this before.
No, it's got worse.
They gave this legitimacy to some element in the society who thought before they couldn't speak like this. It's not acceptable.
But now they feel
because some of these politicians, the way they behave, they thought, no, it's acceptable. And straight after referendum, I heard many people telling me, that people were sort of saying to them, well, you are next. We've got rid of the Poles and the, Romanians, etc. Now you are next. When are you going?
But a lot of them, if they've already come here and become British nationals, which a lot of them have done, then they're not
half of the Muslims are born here.
Yeah, so then
more than half are born here, actually.
It's ridiculous, really, to even think about it.
I remember my daughter. She did a politics. Well, she's not anymore. And she was running a campaign in Bury, and there she came across a woman who was a British National Party supporter, and she said, "Go back to your country." And my daughter said, "Hold on a minute. I was born in Manchester. Which country are you talking about?" Let's talk about the issues. But she spoke to her after a while. She said, look, the issue is, how do we make sure we have schools? How do we make sure we have jobs? How do we make sure we have a good transport? How do we make sure we have good hospitals? These are the things we should be talking about, not the language you are talking about. That doesn't help anything. Your hospitals will collapse if the people from my background, heritage, left.
Well, if you look in hospitals, actually, what percentage are actually white British-born doctors?
Absolutely. And that lady, actually, credit to her, she went home and then she emailed her and apologized and said, look, I will be supporting you, I'll be voting for you, and I'm going to get my family to vote for you. You were right, you showed me the way.
Because it's a lack of understanding.
And somebody needed to challenge them. Say, hold on, where are you going with this?
And after the challenge, she's realised that she's
it was a silly thing to do.
I mean, you're an MEP, and you've been doing it now for quite some time. What effect does that have on our community? How can you help us, you being an MEP? Because obviously we're quite proud that we have our own Muslim Pakistani.
Well, I think all you need to do is some boy, if they want, they can follow my Twitter. I have a Twitter, Khan Labour MEP. You can see the things I do. Because I don't regularly tweet. I also have a
I'm
Facebook.
trying to learn, but I'm not very good at tweeting.
Well, Facebook's
alright.
If you Google Afzal Khan MEP, you'll get my Facebook as well. Again, I will put things on that as well. I have a website as well, where again you can go, which is again www.afzalkhan.org, which will show you actually all the things that I've been doing in Europe.
Well, you've been working, trying to bring the Muslims and the Jewish community together.
Yes.
And
the Christians.
And the Christians.
Monday we're doing a big event in the Parliament. Last week I had young political leaders from Palestine and Israel speaking to them, talking to them, showing them there's a way we can work together, and gave them examples of positive things as well. I've spoken on Syria war as well. I've spoken about Palestine.
You've been to Iraq as well?
I've been to Iraq in Erbil, seeing all that situation as well. I was involved with the Iranian agreement as well. Recently we've had with the European Union and Iran. Last week I had a delegation from Iran, from the Parliament, wanted to improve the relationships. One of the things I've been trying to do is, first of all, help the Northwest, help our people here. Second thing I've been doing mostly is trying to improve the relationships between Europe and the Muslim world. That probably has been quite a big one. And then also fighting against Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. I've been doing a lot. So there, and also, because I'm a spokesperson for the Labour Party in Europe on the issues, so it gives me a chance to put these things there. I'm also Vice President of Security and Defence for the European Parliament, so the whole 28 countries of the Parliament, in the sense what's going on in the world. I am Vice President, so again I get NATO generals coming and talking and answering questions and things. Other people from other countries coming and speaking, from Iran Foreign Minister, from Saudi Arabia's Speaker, Deputy.
So it's not just the European countries?
No, it's the world, it's the world. And I also I'm a special envoy for the President of Jani Patella of the European S&D for the Muslim communities. So all the issues facing the Muslim community, it's a big task, But it's an honor and privilege, to do things, trying to make things better.
No, we're all very proud of what you do. Obviously, I follow you on Facebook, because Twitter I'm not very good at. But I can see the work that you do, and obviously when you've done the events where you've had the different faiths together, it's just nice to get them together to respect each other and love each other. Yeah,
and to understand, end of the day, that as humans, we're all one.
Well, our Prophet said we're all one ummah. Muhammad, whether they believe or that we're one ummah,
But the way of looking at it, and what he said was that, look, Allah loved the Prophet, and therefore Allah wanted to preserve the sunnah of the Prophet. Whatever he did, and because of hikmat of the Prophet, he did different things at different times with different people.
Yes.
And in order to preserve that, these different sects emphasize different things. So none of them are wrong. It's just what they think is more better. Yes. So it's all okay. And the most beautiful thing what this guy said was, if we really love the Prophet, then in some time in our life, we should at least do once the different way the other sect do it, because that's also the Sunnah of Prophet.
Yeah,
so none of them are doing things which wasn't the Sunnah.
Yes.
It's just question of the preference.
Definitely.
And if you love Prophet, then at some stage you should try to do it differently as well, once at least, so that you have followed the whole Sunnah of the Prophet, because the whole Sunnah is one thing, you see.
Yes, mashallah.
And that, I think, is the healthy way of looking at it.
And also it brings the brotherhood closer.
Well, that will bring us closer, because we respect it. If somebody's praying without hands tied together down, or somebody down here, or somebody down here, look, Prophet did it all.
Yes.
So don't think this is the only way. And don't criticize somebody if somebody's done it the other way. Respect it.
Definitely, and that's the dialogue between.
It opens the doors. Otherwise, you'll be fighting. And if you're fighting, you're weak. If you're weak, you get kicked around.
I mean, look at the world now. Look at Muslims. I mean, it's the fastest growing religion. We're very proud to be Muslims, but look at the world. Well, look at what's happening. It's always. The Muslim, look at Syria, it's devastating.
It's terrible. Half a million people have been killed. Half the population has been refugee. And people want to argue who's right, this is right and that's right. Come on, stop this killing.
There's children that are dying.
Why don't you sit down and say, okay, we'll make the government together, if you don't, it'll carry on.
Yeah.
You know, one side may be winning now, but the war won't finish. It'll just carry on.
A bomb doesn't see whether you're Sunni, Shia, or
whatever.
It doesn't see that. It just sees
you're a Baptist or not Baptist.
Yeah, it's a bomb, you know. And I think if you look in Iraq, if you look in Syria, the situation there.
Look, we need to be supporting people who are trying to unite people.
Definitely.
Yeah? Listen, just because somebody's from your sect, if they're trying to divide people up, don't listen to them.
No.
It's very simple. It's nothing complicated. Yeah, if they're saying something which helps to unite, to your mind says that this will help us to unite, then you should support that.
Definitely.
You know, why are you just jumping up and down even when they're trying to divide you? Because if you're divided, you're weak. If you're weak, you can get a kicking. There are strong people around.
Definitely.
That's how it is.
I mean, I've had friends where I've been friends for years and years, and I didn't even know what sect they were, or they didn't know what sect I was. It didn't come into the question. Obviously,
that's not point.
Until
you're answerable to Allah for don't
as long as you respect
others.
each other.
Respect others. Yeah.
You know, whether they're Muslim or not Muslim. But I think at the moment Muslims need to respect each other because we're in such a situation that this is happening. But I'd like to say thank you for today. It's been
wonderful. Thank you.
A really good meeting today to talk about, because obviously people don't understand what Brexit is. They don't understand, and I think because of the lack of understanding, we're in the situation now that a lot of people are worrying. Maybe those people that actually voted to come out are now worrying, but it's a bit...
Well, who knows? It may still not be too late, but look, we need to be involved. That's the number one message which you need to say to your viewers. If you're strong, you can better chance of protecting yourself. There's a clear there is saying, upper hand is better than the lower hand. But you can only have upper hand if you're better off, if you're strong. If you're weak, you're not going to be. And we need to be engaged with these issues. There are many social issues that we face. There'll be a soon report coming out which will show, as a community, we have a lot of weaknesses. We need to iron them out. We need to be giving time to our children. We need to encourage them to learn more about education, more about Islam, so they are good citizens. We don't want this negativity. We should be reaching out to non-Muslims. End of the day, that's the message which we have. Our message isn't just for us.
No, it's for...
This message is for whole humanity.
Yes.
So we should be reaching out. That means, making good relationship with your neighbors. Yeah, say hello to them. Send them some gift. Send them, if you cook something nice, share with them. Little things actually penetrate the heart.
Definitely. I mean, on the TV they've made an advert where it's a Muslim.
That's right.
And it's such a nice where they both sit together. Yes.
Yeah.
And they're both suffering from the same illness, and they both. Mashallah, it's such a really good idea.
I've seen that.
It's a very good idea, and I think
that's the human touch. You see, it's care for humans, and when you care, then you'll penetrate.
I mean, I've met people and I've seen them, and I've tried helping, and like you help a lot of people as well. You see someone, it's very hard not to help.
Yeah, do your best.
And when you help, and I've had one woman, she said to me, "That was very Christian of you," and I said,
"Yeah, it's also very Muslim of you."
Yes, and I said that, and then she says to me, "I hope you don't mind." I said, "Well, no, it's being a good human being."
This is what the average faith teaches.
So it's quite.
And we have a beautiful faith which says even smiling is a charity.
Well, sunnah.
Moving a stone from the road, helping clear the path is a sunnah. It's a
a small thing like that.
It's amazing.
But I think we forget, and we get into all these issues of immigration and this and that, and we start worrying about things and we're not actually understanding them properly.
Well, it's about looking after, that's why Prophet said the best among humanity are those who bring benefit to others.
Definitely.
Focus on that. Try to do things which will help others. Yeah.
Definitely.
And try to be a good example, because people may not read Quran, but they will see you what you do.
Yeah, definitely. I think because they see it like they say that a Muslim must be dressed like this, Muslim must behave like this, and they think in their mind that all Muslims are the same.
We put too much on how we dress, but not really looking at our conduct.
No, exactly.
Conduct is even more important.
Exactly. I mean, I went to Turkey and I think, have you been to Turkey?
Many times.
Yeah, and you see how they are. You wouldn't look at them and say, "Oh, they're Muslims."
Yeah.
By the way,
I know.
But if they see somebody sat outside and needs a drink of water, they're first to go and give them water.
Yeah, they've got those qualities.
They've got the qualities of a true Muslim.
Wonderful.
And, you know, I feel
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
it's been wonderful today, and I'd like to say thank you again. And if anybody wants to contact you, they can do through Twitter and
Facebook. Google me and you'll find my contacts. It's not difficult.
No, you're not difficult to find. I'd like to say thank you.
I can't hide.
No, you can't hide. I'd like to say thank you again. It's been really good, and I hope our viewers out there have enjoyed today, and I'm sure that you've got some benefit from today. If you want to contact, you can contact Hidayah TV, and also Google Mr. Afzal Khan, and he'll be, you know, helpful to speak with you. I'd like to say thank you very much again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.